Frank Zappa. I was a drum. Okay, no problem, dude. Good, good. And also, Dragonfly, I do have one on the list for you tonight too, so we can do one of yours after this Frank Zappa track. And then we can also keep going with whoever else is here, whoever has Patreon requests. Okay. Mark the one I just did as done. Okay, so yeah, I think we're gonna jump on into Frank Zappa, dude. I was a drum. Let's check out what album this one came off of. I was in a drum. Oh, I was in a drum. This is off of Civilization Phase 3. I remember being really just uh in awe of this album because it's mostly like a MIDI sounds. And I just imagine Frank Zappa sitting at a computer in like the late 80s and just making this on his own because it sounds chaotic. Well, what few tracks we've listened to. I love this, dude. On the Wikipedia page of Civilization Phase 3, it says Civilization Phase 3 is the 63rd album by Frank Zappa. This was released posthumously as a double album. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, so it was released in 94. It was the first studio album of new material from Zappa since 86's Jazz from Hell. The album marks the third part of a conceptual continuity that started with We Are Only in It for the Money from 68. Whoa. With the second part being a re-edited version of Zappa's 1967 album, Lumpy Gravy. Zappa described the album as a two-act opera, but in lieu of traditional recitatives and arias, never heard recitatives, dude. It alternates brief spoken word passages with musical numbers created on a synclavier using a combination of sampled and synthesized sounds. Much of the sampled material in the second half of the album was originally recorded by Ensemble Modern and other musicians to Zappa's specifications. Okay, so this was actually recorded. There's some material recorded from 67, but most of it was 91 through 92. Released in 94. Gotcha. Dragonfly, do you write down the request ahead of time or just use a Patreon post because I had to edit one yesterday as I realized you already reacted to it? Oh, so I write it down. I do write it down ahead of time. So, you edited one? Let's see, which one was that? Was it maybe the Yorushika Deep Indigo, dude? I'm just grasping. Yeah, other than that, I don't really... The first take of Zutomayo. The last one. Okay. Byushinwo Kamu? Okay, gotcha. Okay, I'll go and edit that. No worries, I'll make sure to get to that. Alright, I might as well just go do it right now. So, real quick, don't mind me. Just gonna go to that post real quick, and then we'll jump on into whatever we're gonna get into next. Oh, is it the special thanks? Dunaruno? Yes, okay. Cool. Cool. Thank you. That is saved. Appreciate you. Cool. All up to date. All right. So we were learning about Frank Zappa. I was in a drum. Thank you again, Aloe, for bringing this one by. Let's just jump on into it, dude. I'm sure it's going to be fun. He's stuck in a drum, dude. Dude, he sounds like he's drunk and inside the drum. Trying to get out, dude. Maybe found a wrench in the drum. I don't. It sounds so goofy, dude. Speeding up. The random drips, dude. Quick pause. At this point, we've accepted our fate as being in this drum forever. We're never getting out, so might as well have a party. So now that's what this next section is, dude. We're having a party in the drum. That's exactly what's happening. Trust me. I know what's going on. If you don't, I'm sorry. You lack the ability to read music. Dude, I love every element of this. Just the random drips to... I think it's a bass doing the bloom, 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 bloom. Just, there's so much going on. There's so much. What do you guys think of this? How does this make you feel? It makes me feel like we're in a drum, but we're also trapped in a cavern. A dripping, just wet cave. Feels miserable. But there's... we have to party, dude. Okay, dude, yeah. Dude, it's over? Frank Zappa, I was in a drum. Well, we were all in that drum with him, feels like. I don't really know how to feel right now. Dude, I was imagining Frank literally trapped in like an oil drum, not like a, not even a musical drum. I thought about it, but no, that didn't even make sense. It made more sense to put him in an oil drum. And also put that in a cave. And he's just smacking around with a wrench and maybe a stick. Oh, God. This was a wild little adventure we had with Frank. Like, I really want to know his motivation for making this one. Honestly, I feel like, let this ruminate for a bit. It's always a fun time. I don't know. I never know what to expect when we're getting into a Zappa like track ever. So honestly, every time we do, it's always a nice little surprise for me. I always enjoy it, even though everything is so weird. Some of my favorite stuff. It's like, what weird thing am I going to listen to next? Dude, like, what kind of expression is he going to give us this time? Let's read what Aloe gave us. One aspect of his music that is usually overlooked is that the space that something is heard in, it's part of the composition. The space that something is heard in is part of the composition. Gotcha, gotcha. I understand now. The overall atmosphere, the ambiance. With the synclavier, he was able to put individual notes in entirely different reverb environments, which is why some sounds are very close up and others are distant and very echoey. Oh. Okay, so being creative even in this stage. Awesome. He needs to do a sequel. I am in a tuba. That would sound probably a lot more obnoxious. Makes you feel like dropping acid, right? It probably wouldn't have been such a fun. I actually don't know, dude. I've never listened to music while doing that. I only watched movies. I only did it once. So, could this be played live? No, dude. Dude, it had some crazy beats at the end there. Felt like we were going to get into like a rap beat. He could visualize a melody by looking through it from front to end as a climate. Whoa. That's crazy to think about. Like, he builds worlds around his songs. He doesn't just make a song to sound good. He like builds worlds. Hello. Ultimately what he heard in his head couldn't really be represented by existing technology, and God only knows what he'd have come up with in the 90s and 2000s, right? That's what I said a while ago. Is that he would be so happy with today's technology and like what I think he'd be impressed with a lot of like dubstep projects, even in the past like 10 years we've done so much in terms of electronic music, and some stuff is getting pretty crazy. We have microtonal guitars now, we have just microtonal music in general. It's getting wild. There's so much. So many people are playing with synths. We're getting so many different genres, dude. He would be overwhelmed. He'd probably just want to sit back and see what humanity's come up with. I don't know. Thanks again, Aloe. This was crazy, dude. Civilization Phase 3 from 94. Posthumous album. Yo, going over to twitch.tv/JohnSlopReacts and leave a follow if you want to catch all these live streams where we record all these reactions, dude. And going over to patreon.com/JohnSlop to submit your favorite songs for me to listen to. And you can help support the channel as well. Appreciate ya.